Hi, this is Alchemist2 here, and I'm back again with another movie review. Last night, Dad and I decided to watch Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Now, elements in the story increasingly become more ominous, darker, and all the more creepy as we are introduced to the soul-sucking, happiness-stealing creatures known as the Dementors. Now, I wouldn't want to meet one of these creatures any day, any night, or at all. There is a convicted criminal on the loose, and of course, everything that we hear about him, Sirius Black, is hearsay and rumor, and all that Harry knows is what he's heard about Sirius. And there's a plot twist with Sirius, of course. If you've seen the film and read the books, you know. We're introduced to some new characters here. Lupin, who happens to be another one of my favorite characters later on. You really feel a lot of sympathy toward him just because we learn that, small spoiler, sorry, that he's a werewolf. And apparently he didn't have any choice in the matter, whereas Sirius, being an animagus, does. He can willingly change himself into a wolf if he wants. But it's very interesting. I really like this particular volume because of the use of the time turner. I think that the time turner is awesome. It's very interesting, and it adds a layer of complexity to the story. And also we learn about the Marauders map, another thing which I think is really cool. And of course, Fred and George give Harry the Marauders map, and I love Fred and George. They're great characters. They're mischievous, but they mean well, and they're very handy to have around. Those are two guys that you would want to have on your team. You wouldn't want to have them on the side of villainy. That would be terrible. But you know who your true friends are and your true enemies are, and of course Harry learns this, and then you get to see certain events that occurred and you didn't know. You thought, well, how did that happen? And then you see, that's how that happened. And it's a lot of revelation, and lots of secrets are uncovered in this particular volume. And we get to see another magical creature known as the Hippogriff, which belongs to Hagrid. And actually, this is my favorite scene. With the monster books are funny, but I would have mentioned the monster books first because when I first saw the film in cinemas, when Harry opened up his monster book and it started trying to eat him, it scared me half to death. And seeing it for the second time, I knew to expect it, so it didn't frighten me at all. But all the students are going out to Care of Magical Creatures class, and of course Hermione just shows up out of nowhere, and Ron says, where did she come from? Of course we figure out why that is later. She is a very clever one. But Hagrid starts teaching the class, and he asks Harry to come up and bow to Buckbeak, and Buckbeak bows, and Harry's able to pet him, and he rides on his back, and it's really one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. It's just so gorgeous and just breathtaking. I think I always have loved scenes in movies that depict flying of any kind. Draco comes up and he starts making a fuss about Buckbeak, and Buckbeak tramples him and breaks his arm. And of course, he gets Hagrid in trouble for this. Hagrid doesn't get sacked, but which means fired in American English, but he doesn't get sacked. Unfortunately, Buckbeak is sentenced to death. And Harry and Hermione find a way to actually save his life and the life of another. I'm not going to mention who that is, but I absolutely love this movie, especially the musical depiction of the of lines from Shakespeare's Macbeth. You know, double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn, cauldron bubble. And they repeat that, and then they didn't put the by the pricking of our thumbs something wicked this way comes. They just put something wicked this way comes in it. But I love that. It was one of my favorite homages to Shakespeare, and I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I thought that was really quite good. I loved it. And as far as movies go, like I said, the movies continually get better as they progress from year to year. And this one, 2 thumbs up, 5 stars, and really I have no no real qualms or anything that I think is a nag for me. No nags. Can't you believe it? It's strange, and I wouldn't have anything I would pick apart here, but no. Because as far as I'm concerned, everything is perfect. It's especially Remus, Lupin, and Sirius Black. I especially love Sirius. Sirius, from the moment that he was introduced to me in the books, I just fell in love with him. And my dad made this comment with the Whomping Willow, and I don't know if anybody else noticed this or not, but there are scenes where there's a bunting flying along in the forest, and then he flies into the Whomping Willow, and you hear tweet. Actually, he just becomes feathers and nothing. And my dad says, "Do you think J.K. Rowling didn't like birds?" I said, "I don't know. The Whomping Willow, it's just there to be a sentinel. It just acts on its own will to beat everything out of its way that it considers a threat. So I don't think so. I don't think that J.K. Rowling doesn't like birds. As far as I know, she likes animals, but it was just a small observance, but a humorous one nonetheless. I'm hoping to watch Goblet of Fire tonight with my dad. If not, I'll probably be watching it later on in the week, so stay tuned for my next interview of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire.